So there's a misconception out there, and that is that fat people, overweight people, are greedy. They just eat way too much food. They're overeating all the time, and this is actually not necessarily true. So in today's episode, I really want to talk about why people gain weight, how they gain it, and also how to lose it again. So, there's this idea that people that are overweight, obese, they can't control themselves. They're just eating and eating and eating and eating. There's really two things we need to realize here. First of all, because we're eating foods for which we are not biologically adapted to eating, because we're eating refined foods like oil and refined sugar that are very calorie dense, low in fiber, low in nutrients, and because we're eating a lot of animal products, again, to which we're not biologically adapted to eating, because we're not eating enough fruits and vegetables, our natural diet, it's very easy to overeat. On those foods, it's very easy to overeat. And that happens because you consume foods, but your body doesn't really recognize the calories in that food immediately, so you keep eating and you end up overeating over the course of the day. If you think about it, 100 milliliters of oil, that's just like a little bit. That's like 900 calories right there. So it's easy to overeat. Without getting into the specifics of how that works, the point is, everyone is subjected to this. Everyone on the standard diet is subjected to the risk of gaining weight, getting too many calories because of the foods that they're eating. So the difference between the fat people and the skinny people, if you will, is that the skinny people have a restrictive mentality. So in my opinion, I sort of think that's worse than, when I see a fat person, then I know that they don't restrict. They just eat as much as they feel like. If you eat as much as you feel like on a standard diet, you're going to gain weight. That's just the way it is. The only way to maintain your weight on a standard Western diet, high in fat, high in protein, low in fiber, low in plant foods, the only way to maintain your weight on that sort of diet is to have a restriction mentality, to portion control, to count calories and restrict. It's a horrible life. So for various reasons, people that are very overweight, I guess they've just sort of said, or maybe they're not even aware of it, they're not gonna restrict. They don't care about that. Maybe they don't care as much about what other people think about them. They're more relaxed maybe. So in a sense, you could say that's a positive thing. Now, they're the perfect fruitarians, of course, because on a fruitarian diet, on a fruit-based diet, on a natural, normal, optimal, healthy human nutrition plan, you can eat as much as you want, and you should eat as much as you want. That's what all the other animals in nature are doing. They're just eating as much as they want. So again, the problem is not so much that they are eating as much as they want. The problem is that they're eating as much as they want of the wrong foods. So when people point fingers and say, oh, they're so greedy, they just eat as much as they want. Well, that's because yes, the result of eating as much as they want on that type of diet is gaining weight, and everyone walks around thinking that a restrictive portion control type mindset is the answer to health because they don't know anything else. The truth is, of course, that they're both, suffering. One of them is gaining weight and losing health, of course. The other one is also losing health, but maintaining the weight, which isn't, and just being the right fat percentage on your body doesn't equate to being healthy, of course. So that's the first thing we need to realize, that fat people are not fat because they're greedy. They're fat because they're eating the wrong foods, just like everyone else, but they're just not portion controlling as much, maybe. Because, that brings me to the second point, which is important to realize, and that is a very fat person usually didn't get there in like a year. It took a lifetime. It took 5 years, it took 10 years, 20 years, 30 years to get to that level of excess weight. People usually, it's possible to gain weight fast, but most overweight people have gained that excess weight slowly over many years. What does that mean though? Well, you gain weight when you eat excess calories. 7,800 calories equates approximately to 1 kilo of body fat. So if you overeat massively, which would be like 1,000 calories too much per day, you would gain a kilo almost in a week, 4 kilos a month, yeah, 50 kilos a year. That would be a lot. Very few people gain weight that fast. So these overweight people have probably gained their weight over 10 years, even 20 years. And that essentially means that they're just overeating by like 100, 200 calories a day. It's very, very small, that excess, those excess calories. It's just a little bit. So again, they're not massively eating. Oh, look at those fat people. They're just eating and eating and eating. No, they're not, actually, most of them. They're just eating like everyone else does. But just that little bit extra because they don't have that restrictive mindset. So I think this is important to realize, that fat people are not greedy. They're not just eating all day. They're just like everyone else. They're just like any skinny person. Yes, they need a little bit more calories because they weigh more. Maybe they need a lot more calories because they weigh more. But that's just like an athlete who's more active, carries around, does more work, and therefore needs to eat more. So it's not really about the absolute number of calories, but it's about how many percent extra calories that you're eating in a day. So next time you see a very, very obese person sitting down to eat and the thought strikes you that, oh, look at that, person just eating. You know what? No, that's not really how it is. That person is eating just like you and just covers his or her caloric needs. Plus that little bit extra because there's no calorie restriction going on, and that leads over time to a slow and steady weight gain. And once you're at that point, a person that is very fat and have stayed like that for many years, if their weight is stable, they're not overeating. On the end here, let's just quickly talk about how to lose weight. Well, the way to lose weight, which I'll get into in more depth in later videos, losing weight is just like gaining weight. You have to do it slowly but surely. So just like you can gain weight over a decade by eating just a few hundred calories extra every day, you can also lose weight over a decade. Because that's what you need to do. You need to do it slow and steady. Losing weight in like a month or 2 or even 6 months, depending on how much you have to lose, could be very, very extreme and very intense and very difficult and unhealthy too. So losing weight should be a long-term thing. It should be just a couple of hundred calories deficit per day. Maybe, 200, 300, 400. Once we say 500, that's a lot. Having a 500 calorie deficit every day, that is huge. That's very difficult to sustain over long term. So let's just say 300 calories a day over, depending on how much you have to lose, over months, over years even. Maybe as much as a decade. I mean, if it took you a decade or a lifetime to get to where you're at now, don't expect it to take like 1 year to go down to your ideal weight. No, it takes longer than that. So again, I'll get into that in other videos, but today I just wanted to sort of do some myth busting, I guess. It just annoys me when I hear people say, oh, look at that fat person, so greedy, just eating. And it just annoys me because it's like, well, you don't know. What if that person has been that weight for like 10 years, not gaining at all? They're not overeating then. They are not overeating. They're just like you. They just weigh more. They just do more physical work carrying around that excess weight. So they're not overeating. They're not greedy. And the greed thing is just all about people think eating is almost like a sin because they're eating the wrong foods again. So when eating as much as you want of something equates to gaining weight, people typically start associating eating as bad. But eating is not bad. If you're eating the right foods that you're optimally adapted to eating is, it's just like sleeping. You just sleep as much as you want, eat as much as you want. Move around, play, and do whatever you want. That's the natural thing. Eating is a healthy, natural activity, of course. It's nonsense, this idea that eating is somehow sinful and we should be so careful and restrictive and don't eat too much, don't eat too much. You know, do you ever think the birds and the animals out there think, oh, I should probably stop eating now, I'm getting, you know, this is too much? No, of course not. They just eat until they don't want to eat anymore. But they're eating the foods that their body can handle. That's the key. So if everyone was eating the natural foods, everyone would just be eating as much as they want. But because they're eating a diet that results in weight gain, that forces people to start restricting. And those of us who do not restrict for various reasons end up fat. Really as simple as that. I mean, there are other aspects to it, like hormones and stuff, but that again links in with being healthy and eating a natural diet. So in the end, it's about the foods you eat, basically. Thanks for watching. This was a longer video than I planned for, but I hope you got something out of it. If you're overweight and you're looking to lose weight and you need some help, some advice or whatever, you can do two things. You can go to our website at sweetnaturalliving.com and download our free ebooklet on how to get started with the raw food diet. We also have articles there about health and fruit and nutrition in general. But you can also sign up for health coaching. It's on the website as well, where I offer health coaching done via Skype, private coaching, and where I can help you, work on your goals, and we can work out a plan maybe on how you should approach your weight loss. All right. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day. Eat as much as you want of the right foods. Bananas, mangoes, papayas, fruits and vegetables. That's what it's all about. See ya.